What's up, guys? I hope everybody had a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Holidays with their family and loved ones. Let's go ahead and jump right into it, man. On today's video, we're going to be changing the rotors on my Mustang, my rotors and my brake pads. But I started off by removing the wheel and getting on the back side so you guys can see the two 15mm bolts that need to be removed, so you guys can remove the brake caliper from the housing. I started off by trying to use my ratchet, my 3/8 ratchet, and the socket, but that thing was on there, man. So I just decided to grab my impact tool and just removing it like that. As you guys can see, this thing needed some brake pads, but it's been a while since I've done brakes, and I just went ahead and replaced the rotors as well, one shot, since I was going to be doing all this work. But here we go. And as you guys can see, the brand I went with is Power Stop, and these are carbon fiber ceramic brakes. And I went ahead and got the slotted rotors as well, just so, you know, more stopping power, and then it makes the car look a lot cooler. It was time to remove the rotor from the housing, and these usually tend to seize up after a while, so they get kind of stiff, stuck on there. And I was using this little bitty hammer, which wasn't doing anything at all, so I went ahead and grabbed my slide hammer and just popped it right off. No more need for that one. I'm just gonna go ahead and grab the new one, place the new one on there, and start getting ready to install my new brake pads and hardware. All you're seeing here is just me removing the old brake pads, and then I went ahead and grabbed my impact and my 14mm tool and started disassembling the actual caliper. Not the whole caliper, just enough so I can pop the little shoe up and be able to work around that tight area. You guys will see. This is where I grab my 14mm and I remove this one bolt so I can go ahead and slide the housing up and just be able to work around it and remove the hardware and compress the brake, all of that. Just like I said, I removed the old one, installed the new retainer on there. Just getting everything ready back to reinstall and reassemble. And this is where I used the vice grip to compress the brake. I had already done it prior to this, but it just needed a little more. And like I said, I improvised with a lot of the tools that I had on hand because I didn't have the proper tools on hand with me. C-clamp would have been better here, would have been ideal, but your go-to tool should be the actual tool that compresses the brake. And yeah, once I did all of that, it was ready to go back on, ready to put my 15mm bolts back onto the knuckle and get everything back tightened up. Bam! That's what it should look like when it's reinstalled and everything's put back together. Then I went ahead and went to the rear, and on the rear it has two 18 millimeter bolts instead of the 15s. And I went ahead and grabbed my 1/2 inch ratchet with the 18 millimeter socket, and this needed a little elbow grease behind it because they're on there, and my impact didn't fit on the back because of the strut and the way the axle was on there since it's a rear wheel drive. It's the same thing as I did on the front. That's the same as the back side. The only difference is the 18 millimeter bolts and the way that you compress the brake, which I'm going to show you guys a little bit later. But I went ahead and installed a lug nut because I didn't want it to shift on me, since the back side is a little bit different. But I didn't show the opposite side because whatever I did to the front and rear driver's side is the same that you do on the passenger rear and front side. Then it was time to remove the old hardware and install the new hardware onto my rear caliper. So this is how I compress my rear caliper. On the front, I use vice grips. Okay, I don't know if you guys saw it, but to compress the brake, I basically got a needle nose plier. Went in here and twisted it. Let me see if I can get it. Like that. Just spin it. I don't know if it recorded because my battery died, but that's how I did it. Shout out to the homie Chris for teaching me that one. I was having trouble compressing these brakes, but he told me just grab some needle nose and apply pressure inward and twist as you go, and it worked. Enough clearance. Bam, we do get trash in there. And put everything back. Boy up. Bam. Don't forget to pump your brakes, check your brake fluid, caliper, bleed your brakes if need be. Our housing. And this is pretty much it, guys. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys around for more videos. Peace. Alright. Hell yeah. There it goes. That's what they look like, man. That's what they look like. Looking real clean. Woo! Now I just need some rims, man.